Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. I am your host, Jessica, and it has been a long time. Well, I feel like a long time. I think it's only been like 2.5, maybe 3 weeks now. This is episode 26, and today is August the 8th. It's a Tuesday. So since last episode, Tim came out to visit, my husband. For those of you who don't know, I am in California for the summer. My husband and I are doing IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. So, long story short, we opted to do it in California. So I'm staying at my parents' house and hopefully going back mid-September. My husband and I live in Arkansas. So he came out for a visit. It was also his birthday. He was here for a week and it just flew by. We jam-packed our days. We went to the boardwalk, which is the local amusement park on the beach. So we went to that. We went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. My husband had a ride along with the local police department. So that was actually on his birthday. I dropped him off at the police station and he drove around for a few hours with the police officer. Just to have our options open and to see if he liked, the local police department here. Just trying to look into the future and see if we would move out here in a few years or not. So he did that. We had 2 different fertility appointments on 2 different days. We went to the San Francisco Giants game with my parents. So it was just a jam-packed week. So there was not a lot of knitting done, which I was not expecting to get a lot of knitting done. That said, I did finish quite a few projects, or a big one and some other little ones. So yeah, let's get started. If you haven't figured it out, this is a knitting podcast, and while I'm out in California, it's just knitting. When I'm back in Arkansas, I talk a little bit about our homestead life. We live in a tiny house on a tiny farm, and yeah, raise our own animals, and it's pretty fun. So, but I'm out in California for the summer, and so there's no animals. My parents have a African sulcata tortoise, which is out in the backyard, and it just, it eats and walks around all day, but you can't really play with it. So, lots of knitting time out here. And yeah, I work at Starbucks, so Starbucks' benefits cover 1 round of IVF. So I got a job at Starbucks specifically for the benefits. I transferred my job out to one of the local Starbucks out here, so I'm doing that. The bummer about the Starbucks here is it opens at 4:30 in the morning, which means I have to be at work at 4. So I feel more and more like an elderly person because I go to bed at 9. Sometimes it's still light outside because I have to get up at 3. So I'm looking forward in the future to not having to work at 4 in the morning, but for now I will do whatever it takes to have a successful IVF round and to not have to pay out of our pockets because there's no way we could afford it. So I am incredibly grateful to Starbucks, and yeah, so that is me in a nutshell. Let's get on to knitting. So last episode I showed you guys my test knit that I was doing for Kefren, and I finished it. So it's called the Can Shawl, and I'm not sure when it will be live on Ravelry, but Kefren was super generous and said when it is live, she's going to give me a copy or 2 to give away on the podcast. So you guys will have an opportunity to win a copy of the shawl pattern. And if you guys don't win, I highly suggest you go buy it. Kefren is a super sweet gal. I met her when I was working at the local yarn shop in Hot Springs, Arkansas. She came down for a festival, so we got to know each other there, and I think she lives in Michigan. I'm pretty bad at where people live, but she's up there. And so she has super fun designs, and I was so excited to be able to do a test knit for her. So it is blocked, and then after I blocked it, I wove in all the ends, and I realized I forgot one. So right here, there's one pink end, but ignore that, okay? So this is the shawl. It's like that. And it's really big. It's, if I hold it, it's probably maybe just my wingspan. Like, there's one arm, and then it's stretched out to the other arm. I put pictures up on Instagram and Facebook. Oh, on Instagram, I'm Jessica Ruth Knits, and on Facebook, I'm just Jessica Knits. I took pictures of my mom wearing the shawl, and so I posted those. But up close, on the edges, it has these eyelets, and that's how you do your increases. So the eyelets don't travel the whole gray row, they're just on the edges. And then it goes to this gorgeous lace, which this just opened up after blocking. I absolutely love the lace part. The yarns I used, sorry, it's gonna blow it out. It's kind of like that. The cream is hedgehog fibers. The peach is stranded dye works, and the gray is cat's kettle. They're all of the colorways are on my Ravelry project page for this, which it's not a linkable pattern because it's not live on Ravelry, but I think it's just on my Ravelry page. It's just called like the Can Test Knit, I think. On Ravelry, you can find me as Sergeant Griff's Girl. So it's SGTGRIFFS Girl, GIRL. When I first started using Ravelry, it was back when you had to have an invitation to join. Kind of like Facebook used to do, or maybe Facebook you just had to have a college email, whatever. Ravelry, you used to have to get an invitation, so a knitter friend could invite you to join Ravelry. So it was back when Tim and I had first got married, and I had changed my last name. My last name is now Griffith, but in the Army, everybody uses nicknames. So my husband was always called Griff, so I was Sergeant Griff's Girl, because yeah, when we were dating, I was Sergeant Griff's Girl, and then we got married, and it just stuck. So that is where my Ravelry name came from, and why it doesn't really match the whole Jessica Ruth Knits podcast thing. But I'm not going to change it because it just reminds me of when I joined and when we first got married, and that was kind of when I got back into knitting seriously. We got married a year and a half after I graduated college. And so during college, I dabbled with it. I would crochet a lot during my lecture classes. So for Christmases, everybody got crocheted Afghans. My mom still has one here on her, one of her armchairs that I made for her in college. But so college, it was all about cheap, probably everything's acrylic that I made. And it was just easy and just something more to occupy my hands. Once we got married, so Tim was in the Army for 13 years. Once we got married, 10 days after we got married, he deployed for 15 months. We knew his deployment was coming up. The Army doesn't tell you when, they just tell you be ready for it any day. So we were married, and about 7 days later, we got told you got 3 days. So it was a whirlwind from when we got married to, oh crap, he's leaving. And he deployed for 15 months. So he was able to come home 12 months into his tour. So he came home for the very first time for our 1-year anniversary. So at that point, we had been, geographically separated for longer than we had been married. So all that is to say, once he deployed, I really tried to get into the community. And there was a good group of knitters there. And they introduced me to Ravelry, they invited me. So this was all like 2007. 2007. And so I had nothing to do but to knit because we didn't have a farm. We were, freshly married, itty bitty house. We had 2 dogs, but that was it. And I was working. So after I would come home from work, I just dove into knitting, and that was when it really took off for me. I learned to knit in junior high, so I had known how to knit for years, but I really just got into it in about 2007 when we got married and Tim deployed for so long. So I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I have no idea. Oh, my Ravelry name, Sergeant Griff's girl. Sorry. But yeah, so the can shawl. It is super fun. It is a half crescent shaped shawl, and I love how the ends do this like swirly bit. Can you guys see that? They just, I don't know, I love that. So you could easily wear it like Little House on the Prairie style, which I think is super cute. You could shift it over a little bit and like put a shawl pin in. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. Like that. Or my favorite way to wear them is like a scarf style. So I would just wear it like that. Oh, I think it's so cute. Like that. That's how I would wear it. Or I will wear it once it gets cold enough to wear it. So, can shawl. I will let you guys know once it is live on Ravelry, and I will let you know what sort of drawing we're going to be doing for a copy of the shawl. So, yeah, I love it. That was my big project that I was working on, because since it was a test knit, it had a deadline, and I think the deadline was like August 10th, so I'm still way before the deadline. But I just felt not obligated to knit on it, but I couldn't be as jumpy like from project to project as I normally would because I had a deadline. So what I also think is fun is before Tim came out, I went to the Stitch and Pitch for the San Francisco Giants. My parents have, what's it called? Season tickets, season passes, whatever, to the Giants. So they go to a lot of games. In fact, they're at a game right now. And so if my mom doesn't want to go, my dad will take one of his kids, or they'll give us a ticket so, you know, we can go with a friend or whatever. But the Giants had a Stitch and Pitch. So it was a special knitting themed event. So I'll have to show you guys at some point the giveaway, because I have no idea what it is. Other than a huge paperweight. I don't know. It's really weird. But so I went, and I told you guys about this last time or the time before. I went with two gals from the local knit group here, and we met up with Ladybug Lily from the Ladybug Laboratory podcast. But anyways, when I went to the Stitch and Pitch, I was working on these last two stripes. And then when Tim was here, I was working on the lace. And like the night that he went to the ride along, so on his birthday, I just sat at Starbucks and knit on the lace. So it's fun to have those memories intertwined in a shawl, and just like now when I look at the lace, I think of Tim and his ride along with the police department, and just how special his birthday was and that he got to be out here for his birthday. So yeah. So I think that's what's super fun about knitting too, is just the memories that are knit into a piece. But that was my big finished object for the week. It is blocked. It is so squishy. I love it. These aren't really colors that I typically wear, but I think it goes really well like with black, or I have a lot of gray in my wardrobe. So I think it'll be a good piece, like accent piece, once it's shawl weather. So finished object number 1. Then because I'm doing IVF, I have been in such a baby knit phase. So I go back and forth on knitting baby items for our future, not even yet, yet to be conceived child, versus not, and just waiting till I get pregnant and then I'll have all the time to knit. But I couldn't wait, and so I cast on a little baby vest, and originally I thought the yarn was gender neutral. It had, I didn't bring the skein out, but you'll see in a minute. So it was gray with all these flecks of color, But once I got knitting, it's a little bit more on the girly side. And so some people might put their boy child in it, which would be totally fine. But to me, it just says more girl. So I think I'm going to add a bow to it, which will kind of solidify it being a girl vest. But again, if you wanted to put your boy in this, it would be totally fine too. You can do whatever you want, obviously. But this is from my hope chest, and so I would just put it on a daughter. But this is what it is. So cute, guys. So this is the, excuse me, the Milo Bambino. There's two by the same designer. There's the Milo and the Milo for fingering. So one's the Milo and one's the Milo Bambino. I'm not sure which is which. But this is the one for DK weight, not fingering. So look at how cute that is. But do you see what I mean? It's more pinks and purples. I thought the blue would maybe come out more. This side is a little more blue and green. But I mean, you could put like a blue collared shirt under and it would tone down the pinks if you were gonna put it on a boy. So I just think it's super cute. So I think what I'm gonna do is like right here, I'll put a big bow on it. I'll knit a bow out of the same yarn because I have quite a bit left over. It's either that or knit a hat, but I'm not sure if I have enough to do a whole hat. Or I could put a bow on it and then I could knit like a headband with a matching bow. I don't know, we'll see. I did modify the pattern in that I did this garter panel down the sides. So the pattern does not have that. The pattern has, like right here, it has different cables that you can do. So it's a pay for pattern, but it comes with like, I think 5 different charts. There's like a XO, you know, like for hugs and kisses chart. So it goes X's, O's, XO's. There's hearts, there's a traditional cable. But I wanted something more mindless knitting, and I didn't want to have to like bring the pattern along with me. I think I was going to another Giants game with my dad when I worked on this. So I opted just to do garter panels down the side and then nothing on the front. And that way I didn't really, once I got past, so you start up here. Once I got past the underarms, it was just solid. I mean, it was the same thing for like 5 inches. So that is what I did and what I modified. The yarn is Wee Chickadee Woolery, and I'm absolutely in love with this color. Like, I want a whole sweater for me out of this. I think that would be so pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's just, the color is gorgeous. It's interesting how on this side, the purple kind of pool, I guess that's pooling, spiraling, but then on the other side it doesn't. I guess maybe the blue was starting to here. But yeah, it's super cute. So I do have one end I didn't weave in yet, and I'll show it to you guys if or when I add a bow. But I get very, as soon as I cast something off, I just want to cast on something new. And so I don't necessarily like to finish my projects. Like, I probably have 3 or 4 pairs of socks in my bedroom that are done, finished, but I just haven't ever wove the ends in. Because as soon as I'm done with it, I'm just done with it. Shawls I will finish because I do like to wear those. But a lot of times they'll sit for quite a while with the ends not woven in. Now the test knit I did because I had to take pretty pictures, so I had to weave them in. And this one doesn't really have any ends other than this guy. So that'll be a quick, if I'm at a bow, I'll just weave in the end really quick. That was my second finished object for the week. And did I bring my third one out? Oh, maybe I didn't bring the third one out. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. This one, again, the ends aren't woven in. This was one of those, I didn't bring the topper out, but one of those, I don't even want to call it a kit. It's like the topless skeins of yarn. So this is a Santa hat, and it has a little Santa that will sit on top, kind of like a pom-pom, but it's a Santa head. So the Skeins come with whatever matching topper. So some of them are like puppy dogs or kittens or I don't even know what. This one obviously was a Santa. So a girlfriend of mine, her grandson is obsessed with Santa. And I think he's 2.5 maybe. So I'm hoping this will fit him. But she gave me the yarn and asked if I would knit a Santa hat for her son or her grandson. And I totally forgot I had told her I would. And then I was organizing my stash and I found the skein with the Santa head. And I was like, shoot, I gotta do that. So I whipped this guy up. I think it's big enough. It can just barely stretch around my head, but it's obviously too short. So I think for a 2-year-old it would be fine. Because it is it's super stretchy that way. So yeah, I have to weave in the ends, I have to add the Santa topper, and then mail it off to her. But I did finish a little kid's hat. And this one was I just did 2x2 rib the whole way. Because I figured, since I don't know, I have no idea how big the kid is. I've never met him. So I figured 2x2 rib would accommodate a bigger or a smaller child's head. And then I just looked up a sample. So, okay, the yarn comes with a pattern, but it was kind of stupid because it just said cast on like 60 stitches, do a rib for 10 rows, knit 20 rows, and then do your decrease. So there was no schematics in, like, if your gauge is different. So 20 rows on my gauge would have been like super short, and then you would have started your decreases. So I just found a free toddler's hat pattern on Ravelry and just looked at the inches to see how far I should go for this one. So yeah, and then I just kind of like made up my decreases at the top to try to keep the ribs defined and not just having it like all go to mush up here. So again, because the pattern, it would have been in stockinette. So the decreases would have been fine for stockinette, but not fine for the rib. So that's what I did. Pretty simple. Then I cast on 2 new projects. So I don't know why I felt the need to do another test knit, but I did. So this is a baby test knit. And I think it's going to be for my girlfriend Kendra, who is pregnant with a little baby due in November. This is her second baby. So the test knit called for worsted weight yarn. And I don't have a ton here in California with me, but I did have this skein. And I don't even know what this is. Is it Lolo did it? I want to say it's Lolo did it. Yeah, it's Lolo did it. Lolo did it in the color Cornucopia, and it's worsted. But the colors just seemed super fall, and Kendra is very progressive, maybe modern, so she would easily put this on a girl as well as a boy, which I think I would too, so scratch that. But Kendra is not gender. Her baby girl does not need to wear pink, and a baby boy would not need to wear blue. She would put pink on a boy and blue on a girl. That's all I was trying to say. So to have something neutral and fall themed, I thought would be perfect for her. And so these are going to be baby pants. I'm not going to show you the picture because I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. But they're basically, oh, and Kendra also cloth diapers. So the pattern is cloth diaper baby friendly. So the way the pattern is written, there's one recipe for if you're doing it for a baby with cloth diapers, because you add in like a gusset, because obviously the cloth diapers make the butt really huge. And so they're not like simple baby pants. And then there's another recipe if you're not going to do it for cloth diapers, where it's more just like a basic baby pant, like you would think of. So this is all I've done. it's like 3 inches of ribbing at the top. And again, you had the option to do eyelets to thread a I-cord through, so you could have a almost like a belt. But I think with 2x2 rib on a baby's tummy, it's not really gonna. I might have done the belt if it was for a larger size where the baby's gonna be active and moving around, but this is the newborn size, or the 0 to 3. So the baby's just gonna be laying there, so it's not like the pants are gonna be going down and down and down, and you would need a belt. So I opted not to do the eyelets, which again was an option. You could either do them or not do them. So I'm not changing the test knit pattern. I'm just following, there's like different paths you can take with it. So I love how it's knitting up. The colors are so fun. They're kind of Christmassy, kind of fall-ish. Yeah, I think they'll be super cute. So now I'm gonna start the stockinette portion and do the gussets, or the gusset. But yeah, this I think I have till like mid-September to do. And they're baby pants, so I don't anticipate them taking all that long. But I needed a mindless TV knit to work on, and so the 2x2 rib is so mindless. So I just cast these on while I was watching a movie with my mom, I think. Yeah, we watched Gifted. It was cute. It was different than I thought it was gonna be. And my mom totally thought the actor was Harry Connick Jr. And every time I said, he does look like Harry Connick Jr., and my mom would be like, Jessica, it is Harry Connick Jr. It's not Harry Connick Jr. It might be like Harry Connick Jr. 30 years ago, but it's not the current Harry Connick Jr. And so we looked it up, and his name is not Harry Connick Jr., which I could have told her, but she, you know how once you think it's somebody, nobody can tell you otherwise. But Gifted, it was cute. Harry Connick, well, the non-Harry Connick Jr., he has custody of his sister's child, and she's a genius. And so it's about how he fights to try to have her have like a normal childhood, and the grandma wants to take her away and put her in, you know, some crazy academic class. And it was a lot more about the legal battle than it was like about, I don't know. It was just different than I thought it was. It was still cute. It has Octavia, I forget what her last name is, the girl from The Help, and she was in The Astronaut, Hidden Figures, which I absolutely love her. She's this black actress, and it's Octavia, like, Jordan, I don't know, but she is so fun, and I love every movie she's in. So yeah, so we watched that, and I knit on my baby pants for Kendra. So that, okay. Then my most favorite work in progress this week, and I'm going to tell you a backstory. So first I'm going to take a drink of my iced coffee from Starbucks. It's just iced coffee, no flavoring, no syrup. I can't do sugar, so it tastes just like cold coffee. And I put a itty bitty bit of half and half in it to make it a little bit creamy. So pretty good. It's like the only thing I can drink at Starbucks, but it does the trick. It's weird how when I lean, it gets light and I come back. Maybe it's just my shadow. But okay, so I have a yarn angel, and I've told you guys about her before, and she sends me boxes of yarn, and I do not understand this relationship. I have no idea what I did to deserve this. I'm so incredibly thankful for this person, and yeah, I'm just, every time I get boxes of yarn, I'm just floored at her generosity. So thank you. Yeah. But this week I got 3 more boxes of yarn, and guys, it's like Christmas. I sit on my couch, I pick up each skein out of the box, and I sort it into a keep or giveaway pile. Usually my keep pile is like 2/3 as big as my giveaway pile, but there's still plenty to give away, so you guys are benefiting from this too. so I look through and I then put all my giveaway yarn. They're in boxes in my bedroom here. And then I go back through my keep yarn to try to find out what I'm going to cast on like next. So this time I pulled out 3 skeins. I don't have the third one out here. One was this one. One was this one. And one was a gray. You'll see it in a minute. And I pulled out these 3 together. And I was like, this needs to be a sweater. Like, I need to cast it on right now. And then I was like, but Jessica, you already have a gray and neon green sweater. So I went to my room, like one does, to see how similar these sweaters were gonna be. This is my neon green and black sweater that I just made earlier this year from my yarn fairy. Okay, so this is the Victoria sweater. I've shown it off on the podcast, but maybe you guys haven't seen it because maybe you haven't watched all of my episodes. So it's like this. It's like a shawl. Look at how cool it is. Yeah, I love it. Okay. Neon green and black sweater. Like, it's like exactly the same. Exactly the same, right? But this one has a little bit of pink in it, so it's totally different. Right? Totally different. Like, but if I want to wear pink, this sweater would not go with pink, and this sweater now would. So I was justifying it to my mom, and I was like, Mom, I really want to knit with these colors, but it's so similar. Like, how many neon green sweaters does a girl need, right? Obviously more than one because I'm started another one. And my mom's like, those aren't my colors, so I really don't care what you do because I don't like it. And so I was like, okay, whatever, Mom. So I messaged the Yarn Angel, and I was like, oh my god, these 3 colors, they need to be cast on tonight for a sweater. I said, but this is my dilemma. It matches perfectly with the sweater I already have. And that was all I told her. Her response back was, yeah, but this one has some pink in it. And I just hit the floor laughing. So I read her message to my mom, and my mom's like, oh my god, like that's exactly what you just said. So I cast on the sweater. This one is Yarn Stories, who I have never used before. It says Fibers for Crafters. The color is Absinthe. This one is Pineapple Yarn. And I have the tag in there, so I don't know what colorway it is. But again, it'll be on my Ravelry project page. And I am combining like 5 different sweaters. So I picked this pattern for the drift sweater, which one of my girlfriends, Lori, who I've talked about before, back in Arkansas. Hi, Lori. She made it, or she's almost made it. She has it all done except for like half of a sleeve. And she brought it, or she showed me one time, and I was like, that is gorgeous. I need to make this. So she gifted me the pattern, so I've had no excuse not to make it. And it starts out, it's like a circular yoked pattern, and then it goes, after you separate for the sleeves, it goes stockinette down. So that's the pattern I'm following. However, I didn't want another pullover because the whole point of me being in California is to get pregnant. And if I knit a fitted pullover, hopefully in a couple months I will be pregnant and it will not fit. So I didn't want to go into all the trouble of knitting a sweater only to not be able to wear it this fall. So then I decided I would make it a cardigan. So drift sweater, but it's a cardigan. And I'm using the elements from the So Faded sweater to fade 3 colors, the black to the black, green, and pink to the green and black. And I'm making it, it's a long sleeve pattern, I'm making it short sleeve. Yeah, so 4 different mesh sweater things. Elise of the My 2 Tips podcast, she is like a sweater knitting machine, and watch her podcast, and every podcast, it's like she's completed a new sweater. And she's not an itty bitty petite person. So if she can crank out all these sweaters, I can too. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but I mean like when I watch podcasters and they're like 4'5" and they make a sweater, I'm like, well, of course you can make a sweater because you're itty bitty. And good for you. You can make all the sweaters you want to because it takes like no yarn and no time. I am not an itty bitty person, so it takes a heck of a lot of yarn and a heck of a lot of time. That's all I'm saying. So Elise just inspires me to knit sweaters. So without further ado, I just separated for the sleeves last night, and now I'm starting the stockinette portion. So this is my sweater, and I love it. This is the back side of it. So it's really hard to see in the light and with this yarn, but you can kind of see there's eyelets, there's purl ridges. So it has the black ribbing. So the pattern doesn't have any ribbing. It just starts out immediately with these eyelet rows. But because I'm making it a cardigan, I'm going to make the button band going down the front. It's going to be in the black. So I wanted a black collar and black cuffs on the sleeves too, just to make it kind of cohesive. So I decided I would start with the black. And I didn't do the black for very much. I did ribbing and one round of the eyelets. Then I started fading it into this pink, green, black skein, the pineapple yarn. And then I stopped with the black and I'm doing all of the pineapple yarn. So the pattern has you put, once you separate for the sleeves, you put these stitches on a holder because then you're going to go back later and knit long sleeves. Instead of doing that, I just knit a cuff band. So I did 10 rows of 2x2 ribbing. I still followed the pattern for the stitch count and all of that. So I didn't have to do any math there, but I, instead of just putting these on holders, I just did the rib and then I bound off. So it has 2 sleeves, as a sweater should. There's 1 and 2. And again, those are in black, and I'm going to do the black button band and the bottom ribbing. Oh, I'm also making it cropped, so there's a 5th element that I'm changing. Because I can't just knit a sweater pattern as written, because who does that? So you can see it's a cardigan. Let me scoot back on the fireplace, and maybe you guys can see it better. My cable is not long enough to try it on to show you guys. Like, I would need like a 60-inch cable, and I didn't have one available, so I can't try it on for you guys, but I will go like this. So it's like that. So I could have figured out how wide I wanted my button band and minused that number of stitches from the front side. So like if I want my button band, say 5 stitches wide, and if the front is, say the front is 100 stitches, then I could have only done 95, and then I would have had 5 for the button band, and that would not have changed the schematics. But because I am ample in the front, I figured however much I add for the button band will just be additional. So all that is trying to say, I didn't change the stitch count. It is exactly as the pattern says. So, yeah, cardigan like that. Look, what I will do, maybe I'll try it on this one. I'll show you guys how it fits, just with one sleeve. So it's gonna be like this. So I think it's gonna be so pretty. So the eyelets come to about here, which is like the top of my boob. And you can kind of see I'm starting the stockinette here. So I'm going to go for about another 2.5 inches, and then I will start fading this color with this color. And then I will go until I'm ready for the ribbed bottom band. And I'll probably do black ribbing for like 2 inches maybe, if I have enough yarn. I have to try to guesstimate how much yarn my button band's gonna need, but I think it's gonna be so cute. I get really hot all the time, so to do a long sleeve sweater is not very practical for me. Even when we're in Arkansas, our tiny house has a wood stove, so it stays pretty warm inside. And obviously if we're going outside in the snow, we put on big jackets. So a short sleeve cardigan is gonna get way more use than a long sleeve one. So that is why I opted to do short sleeve. Yeah, so it fits super well. This, I think once I put the button band, it's not gonna pull at all, because this already comes like, well, you can see halfway up my chest, right? Yeah, so I think it's gonna work really well. I don't know what else you guys want to know about that sweater, but again, it's the drift pattern, and I believe that's the pattern I linked in my Ravelry project page. So because that is the pattern that I'm following, I'm just completely altering it. I was looking for a cropped sweater pattern because I thought I wanted a cropped sweater, and I couldn't find a good one that used fingering weight yarn. And then as soon as I cast this one on, I found like the exact sweater pattern I was looking for, which the pattern is called the Perfect Crop Top. It's TPCT, the Perfect Crop Top. So that one's gonna be probably next on my list, but it's not a cardigan. So I'm fine with doing this one as I'm doing it. I think it's gonna be really fun. And I just cast it on a couple days ago, so it's flying. And I feel like now that I took all the stitches off for the sleeves, it's flying even more. Or it will fly because I just did that last night. So, oh, one more funny thing I was gonna show you. Okay. Neon green top, right? Look how it changes the light too. Neon green top. Let's do this with black. Okay, so you guys can see all these colors. Then this is my dotted rays. What color is this? Neon green and black. And then neon green and black. So apparently my wardrobe is not lacking anything neon green and black. Yeah. I wore this one to knit night the other night, and I love how it fits. I love the sweater. I love the fact it's neon green. My toenails match. They're neon green too. I had painted my toenails, so I can't have my nails painted at Starbucks. I can't even put clear polish on them. So I can only paint my toes. And so my mom and I and my dad went and got pedicures, and I painted my toes neon green this time. Last time I had them like probably my hot pink lip color, and the turtle outside thinks they're strawberries, and strawberries are his favorite snack. And so I don't know if he would actually bite them, but he like chases me around the yard when I have pink toes and I wear flip-flops. So in order to save my toes and not have them chomped off by this giant tortoise outside, they're now neon green, which he could care less about, and I can walk barefoot outside and he leaves me alone. So my toes are neon green. But I also thought I'd show you, because for those of you who again haven't seen the earlier episodes of my podcast, and while I'm talking about this, to all the new viewers, welcome! Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. And to all of my returning viewers, thank you for coming back. To everybody who subscribed, I really appreciate it. We jumped from like 200 subscribers to almost 500. So that is not unnoticed. I like squeal every time I get a new subscriber. It's so addicting because it's like, oh, you know, 200 and then 250 and then 300. So it's just, I love it. It makes me so happy just to think that you guys are watching this and you guys want to see what I'm making. So a while back I made this dotted rays, and it was all with scrap yarn. So this, what was the blue from? I think the blue was from socks. The black was from Christmas socks that I made for my sister and her new husband. The yarn was Heels, or the neon green, the yarn. It's all yarn, Jessica. The neon green was from Heels and Toes in socks I made for my sister-in-law for Christmas. Last Christmas, everybody in my immediate family got hand knit socks. So I had a lot of sock scraps. So again, this was from sister and brother-in-laws. This was from my sister-in-laws. So it was all scraps, and I just thought they played well with each other. So this is my dotted rays. And this is probably, I cannot see if you guys are seeing any of this. It's probably one of my favorite shawls ever. I love this shawl so much. Again, I wear it like this. Yeah, I love it. I don't know what else you say about that. I like that it only has this little bit of this. This is hedgehog, like birthday cake or birthday party, something like that. I had knit socks for my sister-in-law, and I knit them out of this hedgehog. And then when I asked her if she wanted socks for Christmas, and she's like, yeah, but not pink. Which is fine. I should have asked her before I knit them for her. I think I just had the yarn and thought, oh, I'll make, you know, some socks for Trina. But it is obviously very pink. So I don't remember if I gave her the pink ones too, or if I know I knit her some knit picks. It was the Beyond the Wall color, which is it's like blues and gray. It's really pretty. And then I did the neon green for the cuffs, heels, and toes. So there was no pink in the socks that I made her that were specifically for her. But I don't remember. I think I just kept these ones for me. Because who doesn't like hedgehog, right? But yeah, dotted rays. What I did was, in his pattern, each one of these wedges is a different color. So I did 2 of one color and then 1 of the black. And then 2 of a color, 1 of the black, 2 of a color, etc. So that way the black it's always like half of the big stripe. And that way it's not so crazy with every little stripe being a different color. Look at how like blown out the neon green is. Yeah, so I love it. I love it. I have the pattern printed out to knit another one, which I wanted to cast on for it, but I had to finish my test knit shawl first. So I did. So now I want to cast on my dotted rays. But I also bought the pattern for Andrea Mowry's mystery fade along. It's called What the Fade. What the Fade. Sorry, the UPS truck was just out there. So I don't know if I want to cast on dotted rays if I know I'm going to be starting the Andrea Mowry mystery knit along. Which I might hold off on the dotted rays because now I have the sweater that I'm obsessed about, and that's a big project. So we'll see. But I picked out yarn for my fade. It's gonna go, I should have brought it out here. But also, I'm recording on my iPad here, and because I don't have my computer out here in California, I haven't figured out how to, for some reason the iPad won't let me upload from iMovie. And so I can't edit these episodes. So when I get back to Arkansas and I have my big computer that I can edit on and use iMovie there, the podcasts usually are more edited. They have the down bar, is that what it's called? So like it would pop up on the screen with the name of things. And I also can't pause the video to go get what I forgot because I can only upload to YouTube in like 1 video. Otherwise it would be part 1, part 2, part 3. So that is why I can't go get the yarn that I forgot to get. But for the fade, it goes from like a peach to almost a maroon, like a burgundy maroon. I think it's gonna be really pretty. So I'm gonna have the What the Fade going on, my cropped sweater, and the baby test knit. So that might be enough for right now. Excuse me. Okay, we have a giveaway winner to talk about. Then I'm going to redraw because Oh, okay. Also, we are doing a year-long sweater knit-along, and it's co-hosted with Jessamine from the Knitted Towel podcast, and the hashtag is Jess and Jess Sweater Together. So we both really wanted to make 2017 be like the year of the sweaters, and we want you guys to join us. So if you have knit any sweater in 2017, you can still enter it. Yeah, as long as you cast off for the sweater in 2017, then go. My Ravelry page has a finished object thread, and Jessamine's does too. So I pulled a prize last episode, or maybe the episode before. No, it must have been the one before, because I said I'd give her 2 episodes. And that person never got back to me, so I'm going to redraw today. Because I have all this yarn, and I want you guys to win prizes, and I want you to be entering, and so kind of if you snooze, you lose. So it's been over a month and a half since I drew the original winner, and I feel like that's been enough time to find out if you won and contact me. So I'll redraw for that, and then I have another giveaway. But if you have knit a sweater in 2017, whether it's for a baby, a child, or an adult, it has to be a human sweater, then you can enter it in our giveaways. And you can enter it both in mine and in Jessamine's. So right there, if you can enter the same sweater, you have twice as many chances of winning. So enter in both. Go watch Jessamine's podcasts. Again, she's the Knitted Towel, and my group on Ravelry is the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast group. And you can find out everything that's happening there. So that was my sweater spiel. Yeah, and Elise, of my 2 tips, I think she's on like her 9th sweater for the year, which is ridiculous because they're not itty bitty sweaters. Like, they're real long sleeve, full size sweaters. So Elise is my sweater hero. Okay, giveaway winners. We have I think this is the 300 subscriber giveaway, but now we're almost to 500. So we'll do another one probably next episode if we reach 500. I'll redraw for the sweater knit along, and then I'll tell you about IVF. I'll do that last in case you guys don't care about IVF. And then I think that's all. This episode's already kind of long. So a couple episodes back, I showed you guys this awesome sock blank. This is from Gail's Art, and it's called Extreme 13D. It's not 3D, 13 or BD. I think it's 13D. Again, it's Gail's Art. This one is so fun, guys. Look at that. Like, I feel like I could wear it as a scarf with my sweater. Totally, right? It goes perfectly. Okay, but you guys are winning this, not me. So, the prompt was you guys had to comment on, I think it was episode 23. And so there was 45 comments. So I did random number generator, and the winner, sorry, I have it on my phone, is the Knitted Lamb. So the Knitted Lamb, if you're watching this, contact me, and you just won the Gail's Art sock blank. So yay, congratulations. Please contact me because I would really like to send this out to you. And I can't wait to see if you make socks, or if you put it would be pretty in a shawl. It'll be gorgeous no matter what. So I can't wait to see what you make with it. Okay, so the Knitted Lamb won that one. Then let's just go redraw. I should have done this before because I did this one, but instead. Let's redraw for the sweater winner. We'll go to forums. Sorry, I hate when people do this, but better than okay, so there's, where did July start? Right, January, March, April, May, June, yeah. Okay, 51. There's 51 entries up to June. So then let's go to random number. And we're going to do 2 to 51. 51. Generate 45. Okay, at least it's like a recent one, so I don't have to hunt for it forever. So that should be on the previous page. Almost 10 days. 37, 42, 43, 44, 45. Okay. Riza Marie. This is you. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. Okay, hold on. Where are you? And who are you? You don't say. You're in New Jersey. I don't know what your name is because your Ravelry ID doesn't say it. But Riza Marie, you won. And so that prize was the yellow yarn from the Little Tailoress from Amy, who has the cutest podcast ever. And Riza Marie, you guys can see it, made this super cute cardigan. Look at how cute that is. So, I love that one. I think it's in my queue. So contact me and I will send you out that yarn from Amy of the Little Tailoress podcast. It's gorgeous yarn and it needs a home. It's just sitting on my dresser right now. So congratulations, Riza Marie and the Knitted Lamb. If you guys contact me, let me know your name. So I need your first name and your last name, and I need your full mailing address. And then I will ship those out to you. Okay, that is all no, that's not all the knitting. Okay, one more announcement for knitting. So if you guys watched my previous episodes, usually they're not as scatterbrained as this one, but we have been doing a charity knit along. And so what we've been doing is we've been knitting baby items or items for a new mom, and you all have been sending them to me, and I'm going to collect them all and then donate them to the local maternity home here. Now the maternity home, it kind of gives a chance or like a leg up to expectant mothers or new mothers who don't have really any hope. So they help people find jobs, and usually it's single moms. You know, maybe they've been addicts, maybe they're homeless, maybe they just don't have any family to help them. So they teach them basic life skills and they get them jobs and they just kind of help them be prepared to go out into the world on their own and be a wonderful mother, but also a good person and a good productive member of society. So I picked this charity because, like I said, I'm out here in California with the intention of getting pregnant. And so how cool is it to be able to help people who are pregnant, but who don't have all the opportunities that you and I have. So I put a call out to all my knitter friends and knitting strangers, because I don't know a lot of you guys, to knit things for the babies or for the new mama. And then in return, I have been mailing out skeins of yarn that my yarn angel sent to me. So I've been trying to spread the love because I received so much amazing yarn, and so I want to send it to you guys. So in return, you guys have been sending me baby items to donate. So that ended the July 31st. Was the ship by date. Now, a lot of you have contacted me and said, you know, like, my box hasn't gone out yet. It's totally fine. But that was just the official end date. So if you guys still have stuff coming, just let me know. And there's still plenty of yarn, so you'll get a skein of yarn in return, and I will make sure it gets donated to the Sienna House. But, like I said, this week, I got 3 more boxes of yarn. And it is so much yarn, and I want to keep it all, but I also want to be realistic in that I can never knit with it all. So, like I mentioned, I kept up my favorites, and then I have a box of not quite my favorites. It's not bad yarn at all. It's all brand name stuff. I mean, like, independently, like, famous, not famous, but you know what I'm trying to say. Good stuff. It's not, there is some knit picks in it, but the majority of it is indie dyed fingering weight yarn. So what am I gonna do with this? That was my question to myself. I don't want to pay to ship the yarn that didn't make my cutoff to Arkansas because that would be expensive. And if I'm never going to be able to knit with it here, I'm not going to be able to knit with it there. So I'm trying to figure out how to get it to you guys, basically. With the charity knitting drive, I did not ask for any shipping money. A lot of you were super generous and sent, a couple bucks here and there to help cover the shipping costs, which was amazing, and I really appreciated that. But for those of you, it was not a requirement, and for those of you who didn't send shipping money, which is probably like 90%, because I didn't ask for it and I didn't expect it. So for all of those that did, thank you. But for those of you that didn't, don't feel guilty because I didn't ask for it. Between my dad and I, we covered all the shipping. So, but that got expensive because I had no idea how many people would respond to this knitting drive. I thought like 20 people, maybe my best friends back in Arkansas, would feel obligated to knit something like a baby hat and send it to me. But we had such a huge response, which was so awesome. And I have so much yarn that there was never an issue of, am I gonna run out of yarn? The issue was, how am I gonna pay for shipping? Because 20 people at like $2, I could afford that. It was more like 200, and so that's a heck of a lot of yarn. And a heck of a lot of shipping money. So that's done, and I have a few more packages in my bedroom that I need to mail out, and then all this, stragglers, I'll mail out those. But I want to do something new now, and I want to share this yarn with you. I have been selling some on Instagram to help pay for the shipping, because not only am I paying for the shipping to mail the skeins to you guys, I am also paying my yarn angel for the shipping costs to get the yarn from where she is to where I am. So it's like, I feel like it's the least I can do because I'm getting so much yarn, like so much free yarn. So at least I can pay for shipping, right? But in order to do that, I've been selling off some skeins of yarn. So that helps offset it a little bit. And so watch my Instagram if you're interested in buying some, or just message me because I have a lot. And I don't want to post it all the time on Instagram because I don't want that to be my Instagram account. So I post maybe like 5 skeins every other week or so. So it's not a ton. But if you guys are interested in buying yarn, let me know. Otherwise, I think we should do a stuffy along. Wouldn't that be fun? So, and I think I want to do it like for foster kids. Fostering is another thing that is really heavy on my heart. Tim and I can't foster in the tiny house right now because we have no indoor plumbing, we have no running water, there's no rooms, like doors and rooms in the tiny house. We have a sleeping loft, and we have the living quarters, and we have an outhouse outside. Okay, so while it works for us, and it sounds a lot worse than it is. It's actually pretty cool, but you're never gonna get approved to foster in that situation, which I understand. I get it. Even though Tim and I have so much love to offer a child, whether that child is ours or just ours temporarily if we're fostering. We also want to adopt, but it's the same reason we can't adopt in the tiny house, because you need to have running water and plumbing and a septic system, and all of that. And we're just not at that point right now in our lives. So we do everything debt free. So if I had $1 million, I would have running water and a working flushing toilet, but I don't. So we're not willing to give up the debt free lifestyle. So we're just working our way around it until we can afford to have like a real house or make the tiny house a real house. But anyways, what I was trying to say is foster care is something, or even I don't know how you do it for adoption, but okay, let's just say foster care for the example. Those kids, they have nothing of their own. And a lot of them, while there's a lot of good foster homes, there's also a lot of bad ones or just mediocre ones. And typically, when the kids come into a foster home, all the toys there, they are the foster home's toys. They're not that particular child's. And so that child doesn't have a lot of things that are theirs specifically, from what I understand. So I thought, how cool would it be to do stuffies? So stuffed animals, if you don't know what a stuffy is, that would be that child's. So if that child needs to move from one foster home to another, or if they're being reunited with their parents, they can take their stuffed animal with them, and it is theirs. I just think that would be so cool. I know a lot of police departments do like teddy bears that they keep in the car. You know, if they come across like an accident and there's a child, they'll give them the teddy bear to kind of just ease the shock of the accident or whatever. So I think it'd be really cool to do something for a foster care system. I don't know how we would get into it, but I could figure out the charity in a little bit. And I haven't had much time to think about this, so I need your guys' opinions. And this is not the official announcement because I don't have all the kinks worked out, but this is what I'm thinking. Okay, what if you guys knit, sewed, crocheted some sort of stuffy? And I got a ton of cool ones in for the baby drive, so you guys could use the same patterns, you could do the same things, and you mail them to me again, and then also send like $5 for shipping. Okay, so you knit a toy, knit a stuffed animal, and send me $5 for shipping, and I will send you a skein of indie dyed yarn. Does that sound fair? Does that sound good? Would you guys do it? Would you not? Do you not want to do stuffies? What would you do? What should I do as a way to get this yarn out without selling it all? Because it was all given to me, I don't want to sell it all, because I don't know if that seems ungrateful. In my mind, that seems ungrateful. Like, I don't necessarily want to make a profit off the yarn. I just want to make enough to cover the costs of doing all of this. Yeah, that's where my heart is. And so that would be the $5 shipping, because it would cover the mailer, the shipping, the time, and you guys would get like, I mean, these skeins are like super nice yarn. So let me know. A big problem here is homeless, but I feel like hats for the homeless or scarves for the homeless. First off, it's Santa Cruz, so it's not terribly cold here, and I feel like you could be on the fence about if hats for the homeless help, or if I don't know. I don't want to get into a political thing about whether or not you feel like you want to help the homeless. So I don't know that that's I don't know, guys. I don't know. But foster kids, I mean, like, you can't argue foster kids. You can't, there's nothing political about helping foster kids. Another idea if we didn't do foster kids was an orphanage, because Tim and I really want to adopt, and there's this orphanage. I don't know how it would work because this one's in Mexico, but my parents have a place in Cabo, Mexico, and I have gone down a couple times to Cabo, and my dad goes down pretty much every year, and he has been super influential in helping out the orphanage there. I mean, they give like monthly to the orphanage, but when he goes down to Cabo, he is more able to ask them specifically what they need. And so, like, one time he bought the play structure, and so they got a couple people together and built, you know, like the swing set and the jungle gym for the orphanage. So I always thought it would be cool if after college, because I majored in Spanish, and my heart is with the Spanish people, if I hadn't got married right after college, I thought it would be really cool for a year to go down and be a teacher, because I had originally started studying teaching as my degree plan, and then I switched to Spanish. My intention was to be a bilingual elementary education teacher. That's a whole nother, that's like a moot point. But what I thought would be really cool after I graduated college would be to go down to that orphanage for a year, live at the orphanage and teach and just be immersed in the kids. When I graduated college, I was fluent. Like, I could argue politics with you in Spanish. I mean, I was fluent. Now, I am not. I can still speak Spanish, but I'm by no means fluent at all. But so another idea would be to donate toys to the orphanage. But then you get into not taxes, but like customs, and a lot of times trying to take things into the Mexican people. If you drive down, we couldn't drive to Cabo, but if we flew, I don't know how that would work. Okay, I don't know. But that would be another idea, is to knit stuffies for the orphanage. There's not really orphanages like that here in the States that I know of, because we more do like foster care. So I don't know. Okay, so the first question is, do we want to do stuffies? I asked on Instagram. It seemed like there was quite a few people that said, yes, let's do it. So I'm putting it out there to you guys too. Do you want to do stuffies? Or what else should we do? I have probably 5 full-size trash bags full of indie dyed yarn for you guys. So I don't know. Do you want to buy it? Like, if I just said like $10 a skein plus shipping, do you guys want to do that? And that way you don't have to knit things. I'd like to give it to you if we do a charity thing. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Message or comment on here, or message me on Instagram, or sorry, the turtle's walking by. He's just so prehistoric looking. Message me on Ravelry or Instagram. I'm really active on Instagram. And let me know what you guys think we should do. How should we get this yarn out into the world without costing me an arm and a leg to ship it? Yeah, what do we do? So at least, okay, IVF, really quickly. I will be in California at least until mid-September at the earliest. So we need to get something started if we're going to do a charity drive, because I'm hoping at the end of September I will be going back to Arkansas. So this needs to be mailed out by the end of September at the latest. So ready, set, go. Tell me what you want to do, okay? IVF. We have started the IVF month, and it's super exciting. So what this involves is, for 2.5 weeks, I take birth control, which seems very silly because here you're trying to get pregnant. Why are you taking birth control? Or Tim's in Arkansas and you're not sleeping with anybody else, so why do you need birth control if you're not having sex? 2 valid questions. You take birth control to prevent you from ovulating before they want you to ovulate. They need you to ovulate on a very specific day, and so some people ovulate early in their cycle, some people are later. Birth control prevents you from ovulating until they want you to. So it is not so much as a preventative pregnancy birth control. It is we're going to control every aspect of your cycle pill. So 2.5 weeks of birth control. So that puts me at, I think, Monday of next week is when I stop taking it. Then I go in on Monday. I have a doctor's appointment. I go in and we will do an ultrasound. Obviously, I will not be pregnant at this ultrasound, but this is a baseline, and I think they also do blood work. So they're looking to make sure there's no polyps or no cysts or anything, and this is like the baseline for the cycle. Then next week, I start the injections. So, or I should say my parents start the injections, because my parents will be shooting me in the butt with a needle. Pretty fun, huh? I do that for about 10 days, I think. And then, so like the 28th, I think, is when I'm scheduled, but the calendar says plus or minus 2 days is when I have surgery. And it's called surgery, but it's not really. They put me under anesthesia. They go in with like a vacuum and like suck out all my eggs. So a normal woman's cycle is like, let's say 28 to 36 days, right? This cycle is going to be like a month and a half because we're taking birth control for 2.5 weeks. Normally you would take birth control for 3 weeks and then you would have a week of like placebo pills. So I go 2.5 weeks and then I go straight to taking, we call them stims, like the stimulation injections. So that prolongs my cycle even longer. Then I have to give myself a trigger shot, which triggers ovulation. That has to be done like 12 or 36 hours before my surgery. So it's all like down to the hour. Like it is crazy how planned out they have this. So the end of the month, basically, I will have surgery and they will suck out all of my eggs. When Tim came out, we froze his sperm. So it was really awkward because my dad asked me, he's like, so how did they freeze his sperm? And I was like, well, he gave a sample and they froze it. And Dad's like, well, how did they get it out? And I'm like, Dad. And he's like, oh, it was like manually? I'm like, yeah. Like they can surgically take it out. But it was just very awkward, like having to describe to my dad without describing it, what he does. So basically, Tim just goes into a room with some magazines and does his thing. I waited in the hallway and I knit. And it was very awkward because I was like tapping my foot, like, come on. And Tim's like, there was so much pressure. So that's probably way too much information for you guys, but that's what it is. So they will suck out my eggs. That's very same day. They will use Tim's frozen sperm and they will fertilize the eggs. So then they let them grow for 5 days. And you will probably lose like 75% of the eggs they harvested at the surgery because they won't be fertilized or they'll stop growing after the first day or whatever. So they figure by the 5th day, they have a pretty good chance whatever's still growing is gonna grow. So they will put the best looking embryo back in. And they do that like via a catheter. They just squirt it back up you. And then you wait a couple weeks to see if you're pregnant or not, if it's stuck. So, and then they'll freeze, if there's any other eggs that got fertilized that grew past the 5 days, they'll freeze those in case the one that they put back doesn't take this month. Then next month, all we have to do is take one of the frozen embryos and put it back in. So I'm really hoping and praying that the first month works because I just want to go back home. But if it doesn't, it's not like the whole big cycle has to happen again next month. So it wouldn't be as bad to do a second time because assuming you have frozen embryos. So that is the IVF update. We are actively doing stuff now. It is not just trying to do all the prep work and all the appointments. Like the train's leaving or it's left already. So we're on the train whether or not we intended to be on it, and in this case, we definitely intended to be on it. So mid-September, I should know one way or another if I am pregnant. And hopefully end of September, if I'm pregnant, I will be going back home to Arkansas. If not, you guys might not hear from me for a little bit because I will be incredibly sad that it didn't work and taking some time to grieve, and then we'll be starting over again. So I will still be out in California then for another month. But I don't want to plan on that because I'm trying to be optimistic and planning for it to work. So mid-September, I'll find out. End of September, if I'm allowed to travel, I'll be going back to Arkansas. So all of the yarn has to be gone. If either I'm taking it to Arkansas or I've mailed it all out to you by the end of September. So that's that. Okay, that is everything I have for this week. You guys have heard way too much information about bodily fluids. Probably not as much knitting as you were thinking you got to see. But yeah, that is life. That is what I have been up to. It won't be as long before the next podcast because I'm back to like a normal routine now. I still need to podcast and show you guys everything that's come in for the baby knitting drive, but it's just so much and I want to show it all. It's just like overwhelming to show it to you guys. So I'll do it because I want you guys to see everything that came in because it is so stinking cute. Like so stinking cute. All this baby stuff. And one lady sent a pair of socks and she's like, I want you to keep them for your baby. So those have a place of honor on my dresser, and they just need me to get pregnant. And then I will gladly put them on my baby's feet. So thank you for whoever it was that sent those to me. Thank you. Okay, winners, contact me. I want to mail you some free yarn. So what's stopping you? I hope you hear about this. Thank you to everybody who's watched this, who's stuck through it, and let me know what you guys think about what we should do next. It would reset, so if you guys had knit something, or the knitting drive would reset, so if you guys knit something for the baby charity, you could get another skein of yarn through this, whatever we do. So, foster kids, stuffies, what do you guys think? Is that a good one? I don't know. We'll make a decision before next podcast, so comment and let me know what you guys think. Okay, I hope you all have a fantastic week. I hope there's lots of knitting and crocheting or sewing or whatever it is that makes you happy. I hope you are able to do it. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. All right, take care, y'all. Bye.